Good evening and welcome everyone to our first Parent University of the 2021-22 school year. This evening, we are very excited to welcome our new food service vendor, SFE, who is with us to talk about the RRPS food service program. For those who have not participated in a Parent University, we want to go over a few important steps. You're watching this presentation live streamed through the RRPS YouTube channel. We've turned on the comment section on our YouTube channel, so we are inviting you to please put your questions into that comment section, and we will capture those questions for when the presentation is over. Just so everyone's aware, we will only address the questions that pertain to the topic being presented this evening. If you have other questions that you would like answered, you may always email those to the RRPS Reentry Plans email, which is rrpsreentryplans@rrps.net. Also, we ask that you do not use the comment space just to post comments. We want to be sure that we're capturing any questions that come in. So we will remove any questions that don't pertain to the topic or any comments, links, and of course, any inappropriate content. Again, if you have a question that's unrelated to the topic this evening, you can email us at rrpsreentryplans@rrps.net. And with that, I would like to introduce you to who we have with us this evening. I'd like to start first with Dean Gallegos. Dean is our Food Services Director for Rio Rancho Public Schools. We have Kevin Gutierrez, who is the Director of Area Operations for SFE. We have Kristen Crowther, who is the Assistant Director of Compliance for SFE. And then we may have a couple others that join us through the presentation, and I will let them introduce themselves at that time. So for now, we're going to go ahead and get started. I am going to pull up the presentation and turn it over to Dean. Thank you everyone again for joining us. Dean?
Good evening, everyone. My name is Dean Gallegos, and I am the Food Service Director with Rio Rancho Public Schools. And I wanted to kind of explain to everyone what my role is. As Food Service Director, my role is being a liaison in between Rio Rancho Public Schools and the food management company, who in this case is Southwest Food Service Excellent, or SFE. Okay. You can go to the next slide, Beth. Tonight we're going to be looking at a few things. We'll be talking about the USDA waiver that is currently in place, free and reduced applications, compliance, fresh from scratch recipes, which SFE is providing the students student feedback, reimbursable meals, and procurement challenges. So I would like to start off first with, you can go to the next one, Beth. We can go and start off with the USDA waiver. USDA has allowed districts around the country to serve meals to all students, regardless of their if they're free, reduced, or paid status, and they can receive a meal for free. They can receive a breakfast, lunch, and or a snack for free, and this will continue throughout the school year from the 21 to 22. This has been in place now for about a year and a half, and the U.S. government did see that there is a need to feed children around the country. So this is what we're under right now. It is called SSO, or the Seamless Summer Option. Okay, Beth. And under this provision, applications are not needed for the kids to have a meal. However, under this provision, if parents opt to fill out applications, they can do so so that they can take advantage of the benefits that that the PEBT program will be available for students. And this is a pandemic electronic benefit transfer. So there's any student who will receive a free or reduced meal can receive monies this year. So that's if they fill out a free and reduced application. I know in the past there's been some parents that have reached out saying that they didn't receive their monies, but if they were to move, you let the district know so that the address can be current, and just if they can just keep in contact with the district as far as their status. And there is a link for the free and reduced, and it is listed on there. It is family.titank12.com, and that is on the Rio Rancho Public Schools website under food service. You will find this link. And now I think what I'll do now is turn it over to Kristen.
Yes, thank you so much. So today I'm just going to talk a little bit about some of the things that we have to consider when we're planning menus that we serve in the schools. And so the first thing we really have to consider is compliance. So meals that are served through school nutrition programs do have to meet strict nutrition guidelines set by USDA, and that's of course the U.S. Department of Agriculture. And so those guidelines are based on the dietary guidelines for Americans. So they are, backed by research and science and just really sound nutrition guidelines. And so those guidelines kind of set, the calorie ranges for different grade levels of what we can offer. And they also really have strict limits on sodium and saturated fat. So for example, the chicken nuggets that you might see in the schools are going to definitely be, breaded in whole grain, so they'll kind of have a little more fiber and protein than the nuggets you might get at McDonald's. And they're also going to be a little bit lower in sodium and saturated fat, so they'll be a little bit healthier than what you might get at a restaurant. And so part of the meal patterns that we have to follow is that we do have to offer whole grain rich products, which again do provide more fiber and protein for our students. We do have to offer a wide variety of vegetables from different subgroups like dark green and red orange. We also offer a variety of fresh and canned fruit and low-fat milk. So our number one priority is really to make sure that your students, get the fuel and nutrition they need throughout the day to help set them up for success as they go throughout the day of learning and academics. Next slide, please. And so I just wanted to kind of highlight some of the differences between what you might see in school food versus what you might get at a restaurant. So for example, the SFE pizza that we serve in the schools is definitely going to be started on a whole grain rich pizza crust. Again, that is a requirement. We do have to offer whole grains in school nutrition. Whereas at a Pizza Hut, for example, you might get an enriched grain crust. We also use low-fat cheese in order to meet those saturated fat requirements that we have to have limits set for, while at a restaurant, you're going to have kind of that whole milk, higher fat cheese. And then our pizza sauce, for example, is going to be reduced sodium. It's made from scratch, so we add a lot of spices and herbs to add that flavor without adding the sodium. Whereas the regular pizza sauce that you might get at a restaurant is going to be a little bit higher in sodium. So overall, the pizza has more nutrition and nutrients than what you might get at a restaurant. Next slide, please. And so now I'm going to hand it over to Kevin to talk a little bit about Fresh from Scratch.
Thanks, Kristen. Well, probably my favorite subject is, SFE is a very chef-driven company. We have over 3,000 recipes in our database that we like to use. As we get to know Rio Rancho District, we're going to be able to tailor those recipes to what the kids are telling us they like to eat. So our menus and our recipes, and especially our menus, are planned by our director on site. So we get a lot of the input from the students. We get a lot of input from our staff. We get a lot of input from the parents. We want to see what the kids are eating. If there's a local favorite, we want to put that on our menu. We have many chefs that are out there that are willing to break down those recipes and put it on our menu. So we're very excited. There's a lot of things that we're doing out there right now. A lot of the pictures that you're seeing are actually from Rio Rancho Public Schools. Right now, we actually have Fred Winsel. He's our general manager for Rio Rancho. And Fred, if you're on, maybe you can tell him a little bit about the local produce that you've been bringing in from the area.
Hi, Kevin. How are you? We're working with Dean, and we're happy to say that we're working with some local farmers in the Corrales area. We've brought peaches into the camp, the schools, and tomorrow we're going to pick up another two pallets of watermelons, and they're all grown in Sequoia. So the nice thing is we're working with families that have farmed in the area, as far as the Wagner family, for 100 years, and the products coming directly out of the field and coming into our Cleveland location, and we're spreading it around the school district.
Thank you, Fred. And one of the reasons that we feel it's important for everybody to understand what our process is, because sometimes I think when people see our menus, they assume that we're going to get the same thing as McDonald's. And, Kristen presented the pizza comparison. And we think that's important for people to understand. Our menus are usually built at least a month to 2 months in advance. They go through a big old process to make sure they're compliant and make sure that all the nutrient facts match. Next slide. One of the things that SFP is going to be rolling out in the next couple of months is going to be a NutriSlice. Right now, we do have NutriSlice to look at the menus, but as you guys all know, during COVID, we're running through some procurement issues and getting some food to our back dock. But part of this process and part of this technology, NutriSlice will give you the option to give us feedback right away. So your student can actually go on their mobile device or computer, and if they try an option for us and they don't like it, they can give us a 1-star or a 5-star. They can actually put if they like it or they dislike it. We get those immediate responses. The GM will look at that, and the next month they're going to look at those menus and see if they need to take anything off. So we're always looking for student input. That's how we build our menus. Next slide. And Kristen?
Sure. Yes. So another requirement for operating school nutrition programs is we have to offer students reimbursable meals and make sure that they take a reimbursable meal. So again, number one priority is making sure our kiddos get fed, that they have full bellies. That way they can go throughout their day and, not, be starving all day, and that they are, able to focus in school. So we do offer them a wide variety of foods every day. We have to offer foods from 5 different components, and that's going to be the meat alternate component, grains, vegetables, fruit, and milk. And so just kind of a basic overview of a reimbursable meal is that they have to have, 3 components, with one being a half cup of fruit or vegetables. So a student could take a hamburger and corn, and that's considered a reimbursable meal. However, that's not a ton of food. And if that's what the student wants, that is totally fine. But we absolutely offer other choices as well. If they want to take a second hot vegetable or the fruit or the milk, they're welcome to take all 5 components. So as you can see on this tray here, this student did take all 5 components. So that's a beautiful looking full tray. So I would imagine that's definitely that student left full that day. So we just want to encourage students that they are, again, welcome to take, a wide variety of foods, and that they do have a lot of options. And we want to make sure that, like Kevin said, we do value their feedback, and we want to hear, what the students want on the menus. Next slide, please. And so then lastly, we're just going to touch on some procurement challenges. So as we all know, COVID has kind of thrown everything into chaos again. And so overall, the food industry is facing really unprecedented supply chain issues, and it is really affecting school nutrition and K-12 nutrition. So a lot of the manufacturers that we work with do not have enough labor, or they're not getting the raw materials they need to produce some of the school nutrition products. And so, there are going to be some substitutions here and there, but our number one priority is really just making sure that students receive high quality, nutritious meals. We are going to have some changes in the menu here and there, but we will, work on communicating those and just making sure that, students, again, are getting really high quality food, and that they are getting that nutritious food as well. And then Kevin, did you want to wrap up the slide just talking about the last couple bullet points?
Sure. And thank you, Kristen. One point that I did want to bring up that was brought up today is part of our technology, but some of the issues that we're dealing with, our procurement challenges, is our POS system. We're upgrading to a Titan POS. A lot of We've gotten a lot of comments about students wanting to buy an extra slice of pizza. We're still in getting that process going. I know, Dean, it's probably getting, I believe, fixed this week. So the POS should be up by next week, so the students will be able to purchase another meal if they like. Pretty much with the procurement issues, like Kristen was saying, it pretty much has steamrolled downhill from our training to kind of how we do things. Our menu is changing from a day to day, not knowing what we're going to be getting. It's pretty much the same thing you guys going to Walmart, finding many different things that are missing. So, you know, our team is getting together. We're looking at other options. We're looking at other vendors that may be able to help us and, you know, get to our procurement challenges. So we're looking into the future. So I appreciate everybody coming to this, the YouTube, and we're just going to take some questions for right now.
Excellent. Thank you, everyone. If everyone could turn on their cameras, and then I will go ahead and ask some questions. Thank you so much for that detailed presentation. And, you know, seeing as it's almost dinner time for me, I'm getting hungry looking at all of that wonderful food. We have heard great things from our schools. So I'm going to go ahead and ask questions, and I invite whoever has the answer to go ahead and answer the question. So the first question I have, you mentioned a little bit about being able to rate the lunch meals. Is that currently available, or is that an update coming soon?
It's currently available, but the challenge with our procurement, we're having to change our menus pretty much, not day to day, but we're challenged at this point. But it is available now.
Great. Another question: are meals young kid friendly in the sense that they don't have things that kids typically won't eat, such as onions or bell peppers?
I'll take that one if you want. Absolutely, yes. I mean, we understand kids like pizza and burgers and chicken nuggets, so we definitely have those items on the menus. And like we talked about, Fred is going to be planning the menus moving forward, and so he'll really be able to get some feedback from the students about what they like and don't like. But, you know, onions and all those things do add flavor. And again, we do offer a wide variety of options. So if it is something a student doesn't like, they should have another option that they can take.
Yes, the options will vary. You know, once we learn how Rio Rancho and the taste buds, but it can range from school district to district. I have many school districts, even from kindergarten, that really like hot salsa, and I love hot salsa, but sometimes it's a little bit too hot. But in some areas, they like more of the home cooked meal, the meatloaf and mashed potatoes. So once we get to know Rio Rancho and the students, we're going to build those menus, and we're going to tailor it to them.
Excellent, thank you. How many options do the high school students have?
They can range. It really depends on the facility, but usually we'll have not during COVID, it's probably between 12, 16 options. They can range from a lot of pre-made salads. You saw some salads on the slides before, from sandwiches I think you saw them on the slides. So they kind of range from hot options. So once we get going and once we train our employees, you're going to see a lot more options come up. But again, we're a little bit strained with our procurement.
Great. Can you tell us a little bit about what you do if a student has allergies?
Absolutely. So we do have a special dietary form that is an SFE form, and you may have a form in your district as well. And so we will collect the information from that form. We will then, have Fred review it. He will work with the family if needed to kind of understand some of the allergies better, kind of figure out what the student likes, doesn't like. And then we'll also train our kitchen staff to make sure that they're aware of the allergy. That way the student can have that meal, and not worry about having allergens in there. So we absolutely accommodate allergens, and we take it very seriously.
Great. Are there vegetarian options for students?
We have tons. Once we get to know the students, and again, specifically, if any students have any kind of dietary needs, they can definitely come to us. We definitely want to hear from them. We have a lot of vegetarian options in our database, and we'll start to be rolling those out here pretty quick.
Great. This question, my student has said they have had to deal with long lines in the cafeterias. How are we working to shorten those lines?
We always say that's a good problem. I think we're working with the district and Fred and Dean. We're seeing our numbers increase from previous even to COVID. So we're really excited about that. We're working with the district to kind of see either what kind of equipment that we need to buy in order to expedite those lines. We are in a labor shortage, so we are looking for about 20 more employees to join our team. We do have other options that we're looking to open. We are going to be purchasing a food trailer that is going to be traveling around, not just to the high schools, but to the other schools. So we're going to be doing a lot of exciting things over there. So that's going to alleviate some of those long lines. So we're looking to the future. We're looking to some of our little C-stores to be popping up. And so I know Fred has some great ideas that are going to be coming up here in the future.
And specifically, we've identified that the middle schools are a pinch point for us right now. So my management team and the executive chef, Luis, I know that he and I were in 2 of the middle schools yesterday serving lunch, and I was in both of them the day before. So we recognize that's a pinch point, especially with the 6th graders. So we're making it a point to put some additional team members in and actually get in those schools and start helping to serve just to push them through. We really have not seen a problem other than the first day in middle school because there's a lot of transition from elementary school, and the 6th graders and a lot of the 7th graders really weren't familiar with the cafeteria setup because of last year.
Great. We've heard some from some high school students who mentioned the coffee bars and that they're not open right now. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
I think we've been working with a local coffee roaster. They're actually a family that lives in Rio Rancho. The name of their brand is Whispering Bean. They have a restaurant, a coffee shop down in next to the Sprouts and the Cottonwood Mall. We're actually all set with equipment. We're doing a few renovations, but we look forward to open that up. Your student will be able to get a fresh cup of coffee, roasted in Rio Rancho, and the family that helps support us and train us is also a Rio Rancho family. So I'm very excited about that. It's going to take us another couple of weeks because of some equipment shortages and some POS, but I think they're going to really like what we've got to offer.
Great. Dean mentioned a little bit about how meals are free this year. What would the cost be in a normal year when we go back to charging? What kind of cost are those meals?
Would you happen to know what pre-COVID, Kevin, what the charges for the regular price meals were?
No.
I've been with CEP schools and P2 schools throughout my career. So as far as what the lunches would be, I would say what $3.25 or something. I'm not too sure.
And it all just depends on your status too. So
yeah,
in a range.
So low cost, but determined generally each year. Okay. Great. Will SFE be out at any local events anytime soon so folks can stop by with questions?
Okay, that's a Fred question. We're going to be at the Mayor's Fun Day or Sunday. We're going to be right next to the Rio Rancho School District booth, and we'll be the guys handing out the fresh Corrales watermelon.
Excellent. Well, guess what? We are done with questions. We did not have very many questions, and you all did a wonderful job. But before we close, I do want to give everyone one more opportunity to say anything else that they would like to say. Or I know Kevin mentioned some exciting things Fred has planned. If Fred wants to mention any of those, I'm just going to give each of you an opportunity now to say some closing comments, and then we'll wrap it up for the evening. We'll start with Dean.
Thank you, Beth. I would just encourage the parents to encourage your kids to come out and try the food. I've been around the district from one end of the city to the next, and I've already talked to hundreds of kids. The kids that are eating the food are really enjoying it. Principals, assistant principals are telling me that the kids are eating. I'm seeing some happy plates. I'm seeing a lot of empty plates. The garbage cans are not being filled. They're cooking from scratch, and the meals look great. They're presented great, and they really do taste great. So I would encourage you to get your kids to get out there. Right now, the meals are free, and people need to take advantage of it. And next year, we might be going back to the standard. So right now is the time to take advantage of this opportunity.
Great. Fred, do you have any final comments?
Well, first of all, if your son or daughter has any special needs, please reach out to us. I'm always available. Dean is probably a little bit easier to catch because I'm always in one of the schools working. But we definitely understand allergies, and I've raised children with allergies, so it's a special place in my heart to make sure that they have everything that they would like to eat while they're at school. So let us know, and we'll work through how we can deal with that. Secondly, one of the big pushes we've had in the last week is we've dramatically increased our breakfast. Breakfast, as you know, is extremely important for your son or daughter to do well in school. So make sure that you have your son or daughter swing by and pick up breakfast. The high schools, we've been making smoothies with frozen fruit and yogurt, and we've actually tripled the breakfast offering in Cleveland High School. I was in an elementary school today that we served an extra 100 kids for breakfast, more than they'd ever served. So I think that's a really good thing to have your son or daughter drop in and pick up something in the morning if they don't get a chance to eat breakfast, or if they just want to eat a little bit more so they're ready to go and do well in school. Thank you.
Thank you. Kristen.
Yes, thank you. So I just want to say, again, like Kevin mentioned, we are a chef-driven company. So just because we have to offer, foods within certain calorie ranges and sodium and all that stuff, and it's so-called healthier, that doesn't mean we sacrifice taste. So we absolutely focus on that first and foremost, making sure that the food tastes good and that the students will enjoy it. So we're looking forward to getting feedback from the students about what they want to see on the menus, and really just including some local favorites.
Excellent. And Kevin.
Well, I just wanted to say thank you to everybody again for coming tonight. We are a people company. I'm from New Mexico, born and raised, and I'm very passionate about what we do and our menus. And reach out to us if you see anything. We don't like to hear it 2 weeks, 2 months down the road. We like to hear compliments as well. If we hear something that's going well, let us know. We want to hear those things. So thank you all for tonight. We really appreciate it, and hope to talk to you all soon.
Great. Thank you again to our parents out there watching. As a reminder, if you have questions that come up that you didn't think of, that you need answered, please feel free to email them to RRPS reentry plans at rrps.net, and we'll make sure that those get forwarded to the right people and we get you the answers you need. Thank you again to our panel of experts for joining us this evening. And with that, we'll go ahead and say good night, and we'll see you next time. Thank you all.
Have a good night. Thank you.